There was a question that my son had asked me this morning that led to a discussion regarding Satanism and the term, "Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law." And I talked about how many church folks or former church folks are following that law and don't even realize that they are considered, in my opinion, unconscious Satanists. Do as thou wilt. In other words, do whatever you want to do. Now, it's easy to talk about celebrities and their children throwing up Illuminati signs or satanic signs. But the bulk of Americans are actually practicing Satanism unaware. They're unconscious because they're following their own desires. The Most High says that my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are my ways your ways. His thoughts and ways are much higher than ours. But do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Now, my son had questioned on why it seems that people, particularly black people, are quick to bash the church, that's quick to disprove the validity of the Bible, but yet don't touch or speak against any other religion. They don't speak against Buddhism. They don't speak against Islam. They don't speak against Satanism. But they fall into a rage when you speak about the Bible or about God or about just living right. And I said to my son, I said, many so-called Christians, even those that's still in the church, that don't actually follow the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High, but do what they want to do. You have so many that will go to clubs. They're living a sodomite lifestyle. They're using and selling drugs. They're doing what they want to do. And it's interesting how they attack the church and the Bible. But everything else is free reign. Everybody else is free. Everybody else is okay. You can talk about pornography. You can talk about pedophilia. You can talk about bestiality. Just on Facebook this week, you had black folks talking about licking someone's anal. And you'd be surprised at the number of black females that were down with those fellatio acts. And I'm trying to put it in a nice way here. Okay, I'm trying not to be disgusting here. Okay, but there's no other way to put it. If it's filthy, if it's nasty, and the Bible even said those that are filthy, let them be filthy still. In other words, leave them alone. So whenever you hear me speak about something or against something, I'm not speaking to those that choose to live that filthy lifestyle. And one thing I mentioned to my son, I said, if you notice, and I gave reference to a movie that I watched on Hulu, which is titled Lucifer. And Lucifer was actually bisexual. And they were showing all these women that he slept with while he was in the flesh. And among them women were quite a few dudes. And he's considered bisexual. Now, the detective that was falling in love with him, or he was falling in love with, she didn't mind the fact that she interviewed some guys that he slept with. And she refused to believe that he was Lucifer because, of course, he was in the flesh. And I don't think you would really believe someone if they come up and tell you that they are Lucifer and, you know, their existence is in hell. I don't think you would really believe that. But the therapist that was counseling him, he showed himself to her. And she went into shock. And fear set in. And after the fear was gone and the shock was gone, then she actually submitted to that. She still accepted them. She felt comfortable being around them. In the end, she ended up losing her life. But I want to read the verse of scripture. Matthew 7:13 and the 14th verse. Matthew 7, the 13th and the 14th verse. And it reads as follows. Enter ye in at the strait gate. For wide is the gate, and broad is the way that lead to destruction. And many there be which go in thereat. Because strait is the gate, and narrow is the way, which leads to life, and few there be that find it. Now, when you see things like, you hear young people say, because I hear a lot of young people saying it, how everybody's doing it. And if you look at the way society is set up today, everybody is following the gay agenda. Everybody wants to be gay or lesbian or bisexual. Everybody wants to do X, Y, and Z. Anything that everybody wants to do, I don't want to do it, because trust me, somewhere in there hides a deception. See, so people are doing what they will and don't realize that they have become unconscious Satanists. Now, one thing I have noticed is that there are people that's not in the church that will tell you straight up that they don't believe that if there's a heaven, they don't believe they will go there because of how they live. So they are conscious to the fact that they won't enter in because they are aware of their current conditions. But then there are those that would argue and tell you that there is no hell, there is no heaven, there is no God. Jesus is not real. The Bible's plagiarized. And they would think of all types of excuses to continue to live the way they live. And I personally think that's an excuse. I think that people do know that there is something out there, whether they call it God or not. They know that they have a creator. They know that once this life ends, the next life begins. Whether or not you believe that you're going into nothingness, or you just falling into a sleep state and all of your problems have gone away, that's a deception and a lie from hell. It's a deception and a lie from hell. And Satan is recruiting so many people in the church. Just YouTube alone, I noticed yesterday on the side, I was watching a video of these people, male and female, from all walks and nationalities, that were giving reasons on why they don't go to church no more, why they are no longer Christians. And they titled the video, just type it in the search, why I am not a Christian. I am no longer a Christian, or something to that effect. And every one of them were giving their reasons. And you know what? The thought came to my mind, and this is off the topic, But a thought came to my mind because I've seen so many Europeans or Caucasians that made videos saying that why they are no longer Christians, and they were giving their reasons. And either they got into Wicca or something. Okay. And so with this one girl, I commented on her page and I said, so you left one religion that you felt was false and picked up another God that's false, which didn't make sense to me because she was saying that she was agnostic now. But yet she is into Wicca or paganism is what she said. Okay. So, but there's so many white people that no longer believe in the Bible or no longer consider themselves Christians, which is their right to do. But the thought came to my mind of so many black folks that the reason they use for not following the Most High or believing in the Bible or even not going to church is because they feel it's the white man's religion. Check out this deception. They believe it's the white man's religion or the white man's God, but yet I see all of these white people rejecting their religion and rejecting their God according to what you believe. So if it's the white man's religion or the white man's God, why are so many white men or white females running from it? Can you explain that to me? Why are so many white people leaving their own God if in fact it's the white man's God? So just not black people are running from the church. White people are doing it as well. Like many of y'all like to say, white people do it too. But where are you running to? If you're running from the church, if you're running from the Most High, if you no longer believe, and if you consider yourself an agnostic or you consider yourself an atheist, where are you running to? What do you hold as your security net now? What have you replaced that void with? Because trust me, I know there's a void there. You feel it every single day, especially these people that claim that they want to ask, what's the purpose of life? Why am I here? And as time goes on, you find yourself right on the brinks of suicide. You're ready to take your own life because life has no meaning to you now. You're stripped bare. As a matter of fact, Yeshua said to Peter that Satan desires to sift you. He desires to sift you like wheat. And many so-called Christians or former Christians or ex-pastors are being sifted and buffeted by Satan. And without realizing that they are unconscious Satanists, because now you are following his plan. He got you. He pulled you out. He deceived you. In the Garden of Eden, the serpent was so subtle. He was so wise that he was able to deceive both Adam and Eve right when they were in the garden. They had a direct connection with the Most High, was able to communicate with the Most High. But the serpent was able to beguile them. He got to the woman and he used the woman to cause or create the downfall of the man. That's how he was able to get the man, was through the woman. And we find that happening to this very day. Satan never changes his tactics. He never changes his style. He does it. He repeats it every single minute, every single day, every single hour, whatever you choose to call it. There's nothing new under the sun. What was, is, and what is going to be. There's nothing new. The only thing changes is you. Choices that you make for yourself. What does it profit a man or woman to gain the world and lose their soul? What would a man or woman give in exchange for their souls? What have you changed for your soul? What did you get out of rejecting and turning your back on the Most High? And it's not just enough that he pulled you out of the church and pulled you away from the Most High, got you to turn your back on him, but he convinced you to exercise your free will to even blaspheme him. And you blaspheme the Holy Spirit. And that locked you in. That locked you in. That was your signature on that satanic contract. And guess what? You got nothing in return. Nothing in return. You may have gotten a good feeling for a good while. But then if you watch your life and the circumstances that take place around you, even among your family members, you will see the results of your sacrifice. You will see what you sacrificed. So you are now considered an unconscious Satanist. You may not call yourself that. You may even call yourself an atheist or an agnostic, or I just don't believe, or I go to sleep and just don't exist no more. That's a lie from hell. You're an unconscious Satanist. Do as thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Of whose law? The satanic law. Do what you want to do. Until next time, I'm fearless.